Hello, it's Peter Wright and Kathleen Beauvais with another episode of the Yakking Show Business Channel. This is the show and the channel where we bring you actionable business tips and ideas to improve your business and to help you survive and thrive in the interesting times we're living in. And we do that by bringing you interesting guests. Today is no exception. But first, let's introduce co-host Kathleen Beauvais. Hi, Kathleen. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Peter. Thank you so much for that. And thank you also very much for tuning into our show. We so appreciate having you. And if anyone out there is feeling burnt out with their business or their lives, this show is definitely for you. We have the great privilege of welcoming Steph Gillies for the show today. She is a business coach who empowers individuals experiencing burnout to reclaim their lives by building a purpose-driven business. And welcome, Steph. Hello, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm doing really well. I really appreciate being here.
So, Steph, what is your unique skill for helping people experiencing burnout?
So over the course of my career, I spent a lot of time going through multiple different jobs. I actually had 32 jobs in 15 years.
32.
So I tried my hand at a whole bunch of different things, and I just found that, some things I'd get excited about, and then I would learn it really quickly, and then I would want to move on. And so I finally did settle on getting a Bachelor of Social Work degree, and then I worked in the nonprofit industry for many years. Mm-hmm. And what, as most people find in nonprofit, is you're typically overworked and underpaid. And so I was single-handedly running a family charity by myself. And so it was a lot of work. I really enjoyed work, but it was a lot of work, and I just felt like I didn't have a lot of time for my family. I had a new child that I wanted to spend more time with, and when I was laid off at the beginning of 2020 during the pandemic, it was the time that I decided, I think this is the time to figure out what I really want out of life and to not go back to living that burnout life. And so I moved into business. I made 6 figures in my first year as a career coach and resume writer. And now I help other people do the same thing. So start a business, be able to have more time and more freedom, and just really live a life that they don't need a vacation from.
Wow. Well done. 32 jobs. I thought I'd had a lot. And I think even in my long life, I've probably only done about 25. So well done. Guinness Book of Records territory you're going into. So, Steph, you help people overcome burnout and avoid burnout and that sort of thing. Do you think the burnout problem has been aggravated by the 3-year lockdown, or do you think more people have come to do things to prevent it? That's two sides of the same question, perhaps. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I think that during the pandemic, people kind of took it different ways. Some people took it as an opportunity to kind of rethink their life, and other people really struggled with it, especially those frontline workers and stuff like that. It was a really challenging time for them. And so I think that the biggest thing that I've noticed is now that the pandemic is mostly over and people are expected to go back to work, they don't want to go back to the office, right? They want that freedom, that flexibility that they had working from home. They wanted to be able to, maintain that more family life. A lot of people were able to spend more time with their family during the pandemic, and people are trying to build that into their life more. And so I'm finding a lot more people are looking to start a business than probably pre-pandemic, because they also realize that their finances are not guaranteed in a job, right? With all the layoffs going on recently, especially in the tech industry, your job is not guaranteed. And so to be able to build something that you can have more control over can also give you a little bit more security.
And you know what? You bring up a good point, because I think people now recognize that they've reassessed their lives going through this, and they want more out of their careers. Instead of the 9-to-5 job, they're feeling the grind. They want more they want to be their own boss. They want the autonomy. And that's why I think a lot more people are veering towards entrepreneurship. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. And also gravitating towards those organizations who provide that to them, right? Like some of the newer organizations, they really focused on that, being able to provide more balance and more family time. And so that's also another thing that people are gravitating towards. And some of those other companies that are expecting you to work in the office 5 days a week are struggling to find employees. So,
yeah.
So, Steph, how do you align your clients' skills with business opportunities that they could start? Do you actually suggest to them different types of businesses that they could start?
Yeah, so over the past 2 years, I have helped probably over 1,000 people get back to work. So I write their resumes, I did career coaching, and I help them get back to work. And so during that time, I spent a lot of time researching different jobs because when I first started, I knew nothing about technology. And so when I got a software developer and I had to write the resume, I had to learn a whole new language, right? I had to learn the way that they want to write, the way the hiring managers would read their resumes. And so over the past 2 years, I've researched so many different jobs. And so in that time, I really can, if someone comes to me and says, these are my skills, this is what I've done, I can pretty much provide them with 3 to 5 jobs like pretty quickly based on what their skills are, because I've done all that research into, the job opportunities that are out there. And so when people are sharing with me and they're interested in business, it's kind of the same thing, right? I love business. It's my most passion. I love talking about business and helping people come up with business ideas. And so I always have like a lot of ideas that I can provide to people based on their skills and what they enjoy doing.
Are there certain ones that are more popular than others? Like what is the top one would you suggest? Do you think is probably the most popular?
I think probably the online business side of things is becoming more popular because a lot of people are looking to, stay at home, spend more time with their kids, have less overhead, right? So if they have less overhead, then they're able to, they're able to make more money quicker, and they don't have to put as much money in at the front end. So I think that's the most important thing. Yeah.
And when, of course, when you say on online business, that could mean a whole whack of different things, right? It could be an online store that they manage. It could be, doing interviews.
Yes, absolutely.
But what is it in particular that is popular about online? Is there anything that you would typically suggest to people that they do?
I really think it's individual based on kind of what each person wants to do. But I found a lot of people, the coaching space is just really popular right now. And so that's always a really popular one that people like to choose, or providing some sort of service, right? Something done for you, like a virtual assistant, or like I was doing resume writing. Different things like that can really be a quick and easy way to get your name out there and be able to provide that service for people.
Okay. Do you see as a spin-off of this, the whole thing we've been talking about, this could be the salvation for many small towns in North America?
Yeah, absolutely, because you can work from anywhere.
That's right.
I work with some of the people that I'm partnering with, other career coaches and other business coaches, they travel, right? I have a friend who works in Mexico half the year, and she works in North America the other half of the year. So she just kind of does whatever she wants and goes wherever she wants and is able to build her business while she's there. So it just provides that really exciting life that a lot of people dream about, but it doesn't seem realistic, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, interesting. So what's your secret? You started your first online business and you made 6 figures in the first year. What was the real secret? How did you do that?
I don't think it's much of a secret, but I just worked super hard. I built a lot of relationships. That was mainly what I focused my business on, was really building those relationships and doing a lot of relationship marketing. So I would use LinkedIn and I would just reach out to people, start conversations, see if there was any way we could help each other and build partnerships. And I ended up building a lot of really great partnerships that were referral partnerships. So we could each refer to each other, and make a referral fee as well as get clients. And so it was just a really great way to build the business with low startup costs, because I didn't need to advertise to do that. I just needed to take some time through LinkedIn to be able to build those relationships and get on phone calls.
No, well done.
This business that you're currently doing right now is your coaching business that you first started, that you gained like 6-figure income in your first year. It's this particular one?
Yeah, so I was doing resume writing and career coaching. And then just this year in 2023, I added business coaching because I found a lot of my clients who wanted to start a business. And I ended up talking myself out of work because I was like, well, I do career coaching and you're kind of looking more for business coaching. Right. And so then I was like, well, I might as well just add another offering so that people can also get business coaching through me as well.
Wow, that's fantastic. So Steph, tell us about your 5 steps to starting a business.
Yeah, for sure. So the first thing is just to choose a business in an area of expertise. I think that the most important part about that, and I share a lot with my clients, is that your first business doesn't have to be your forever business. Sometimes you need just a starter business to get yourself into the entrepreneur world, to kind of learn how to get started, get your feet wet, and then you can always specialize later. And so just choosing a business idea that you could be excited about, something that you would be willing to share with others, and something that would make you happy to do every day is important, but it doesn't have to be your forever business idea. So choosing something that you think might work. The second thing is to test your idea. So making sure that people want what you have to sell. Right. So providing free services and letting people give you feedback, giving you testimonials so that you can really build your portfolio, make sure what you're offering is what people want, and then they can help you provide feedback so they can tweak it and you can make adjustments in that way. The third thing is to build partnerships with business owners. So like I was sharing before, I did a lot of relationship marketing. And so when you build partnerships with business owners, you don't have to market quite as much because you're able to access, other people's network as well as your own. And so you're able to kind of share in that as well. So it helps build both businesses really well. And then another thing that I did, and part of like starting my business, was taking on part-time contract work. So at the beginning, especially because I jumped in full time, which I don't recommend necessarily, doing a side hustle is probably a lot better, but I jumped in full time. And so I took on some part-time contract work so that I wasn't so worried about making ends meet every month. And I was able to, build my business in a way that felt more natural to me. And that way I was able to still have an income while doing the contracts, while still focusing on building my business. And then I actually, in my first 2 years, I never had a website. And so like a lot of people say, the first thing you need to do is spend X amount of dollars and get a website, right? That's the first thing people say. Yeah. And I didn't do that. I used LinkedIn as my website and marketing platform. And I didn't have a website until just this year, actually, in February. Wow. I decided to jump in and get a website. But it's not necessary to start your business, right? Sure. The clients are looking more for social proof than they are, because anyone can build a website. Yep. So if you can prove that you're an expert in your field by, blogging, by posting, by, building relationships, people are going to be, they might look for a website. I probably lost a few sales here and there because they probably looked for a website and couldn't find one. But overall, I think I don't regret that choice by saving that money and building it into relationship marketing rather than spending it on a website.
That's very interesting concept. And you also saved hours of time, because I know I've built many websites and I know it's never finished. It's all, when you do it yourself, it's always a work in progress. You're always tweaking and adding and spending hours that could perhaps in the early days be more efficiently spent elsewhere. So that's a really good lesson for a lot of people, I think. Yeah, I should have spoken to you years ago. So
Peter, I just want to jump in. I just want to have one other question related to the 5 steps that Steph is talking to us about. You mentioned about, I think it's the second step, where you're offering clients some free services, some freebies out there. I just wanted to pick your brain a little bit about the success of that, because that's can be controversial for some people, because they think that giving something away, it just completely undervalues what you're offering, rather than giving it a discount instead of completely free. I'd like your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think I agree with you 100%. I think that you do need to charge for your services. But when you're talking about a brand new product or a brand new coaching program that you've never delivered before, it can be hard to put a price on that, because you're not even sure what value you're providing. And so I only recommend providing free for friends and family or acquaintances. I don't suggest providing free for, anybody out there, because typically you're asking for a testimonial in response. And if you provide it for some person you met on the internet, the chance of them actually providing that testimonial is a lot lower than if you're providing for a friend or family. And so, charging a small or a discounted fee for people you don't know, I think is definitely valuable. But if you're really wanting that honest feedback and you're like, okay, this is my coaching program, I think I've got gold, but I need someone to go through it and see if they like it, then having a friend or family do that at no cost, where they can provide real, true, honest feedback because they know you and they're not afraid to share what their thoughts are, then you can really up your delivery ability, right? Your product is going to be a lot higher if you can get that feedback from real people who are experiencing what your clients will be experiencing.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Mm.
And the other question that I would have in my mind is, if you're starting a business from scratch and it's an online business, how do you put a price tag to the value that you bring? That's a hard one. A lot of people don't understand, like, don't know how much should I be charging for this, or for, whether it's a course or a product. How do you go about helping them navigate through that?
That can be a really big challenge, right? Because there's coaching programs out there that are like $1,000, and then there's some that are like $20,000 for the same product.
Right.
So
Right.
I think the key is to kind of look at the market depending on what they're offering, kind of look at the market and what they're offering. And then I typically tend to start lower, right, when you're first starting. And then once you've got your first like 3 to 5 clients and they're happy and they like it and you've refined your product, then you bump it up to be more market value. I think it also depends on, what the person's financial goals are, can kind of affect how you price an item too. When I started resume writing, I offered a resume at first for $150. That was just like my starter fee. And now I charge $650. And so like, it's a big difference from then to now, but my skills have also increased a lot over the years,
Sure.
right? To be able to provide a way higher value product to people. And so I think it naturally will grow with you. And I think that you need to continually be increasing your fees as well as your knowledge grows and as your experience grows. So it's kind of an individual answer. So it's kind of hard to give you like a number, but yeah.
No, it makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So of the people that come to you and want to start a business, some, I guess, take your advice and do, and others don't. What would be the single biggest factor holding people back that stops them taking that leap and starting a business? Is there one thing, or is it complicated?
I think probably the biggest thing that holds people back is feeling like they're not an expert and they don't have anything to offer. I work primarily with women. And so I've worked with so many people who are like, I don't think that I could do that. I don't have anything to offer. It's like, I have a client who's a nurse, and she was working in emergency during the pandemic. And so it was a very stressful time. She experienced extreme burnout, and it was really hard for her. And so I suggested that she should start, a coaching business and help other nurses who are experiencing burnout, because she said that, in school, she didn't learn anything about the mental health side of nursing. And she felt like that could be really valuable. And she was like, oh, well, I'm not a psychologist. I couldn't offer that. But then I shared with her, if you were a nurse experiencing burnout, do you think you would learn more from a psychologist who's outside your field, or someone who's been through what you've been through and can really relate on a deep level to what you've been through? And she was like, oh yeah, that makes more sense, right? And so really thinking about what you have to offer, because we all have something to offer.
Sure.
And I truly believe that there's enough room in this world for everyone's business idea. And because I think that different people relate to other people in different ways. And so I really believe that, even as, whatever you want to do, I think there's room for it. And so to be able to offer your service is valuable. And so to get over that fear and have a coach to be able to share with you whether they think you can share that experience and whether you have the skills to be able to do that, or to help you build those skills, it can be a really valuable way to get started.
So that's an interesting point you make about you think there's enough room for many, many more coaches. Do you think we'll ever reach a saturation point where enough people leave the corporate world and start their own business, and a lot of them go into coaching, that we'll have more coaches than clients, or you think there's a long way off?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people in the world, so I think that would take a lot of individuals, because there's some people who start their coaching business and they just want 3 to 5 clients a month. And they're just looking to do it part-time. And then there's other people who want to build an empire, right? And be famous and all that stuff. So it just I feel like somewhere in between, there's probably room for everybody. I think that, I'm sure there will reach a saturation point, but I really honestly don't know what that would be, because when people specialize in different areas, right? There's I'm someone in my network is an ADHD coach. Well, that they're going to provide a very different service than, someone who's just strictly a business coach, or someone who's a life coach. And so I think that in different stages of your life, you're going to be interested in different stages of coaching. So,
good point. Good point. Back to you, Kathleen.
So, Steph, what if I were to call you as a client? What initial steps would you take with me?
Yeah, so the first thing I do is we usually we spend the first few sessions really digging into what the business idea is. And so making sure that it's sustainable and marketable, because, you know, a lot of times if we're going to make something and, you know, if people are creating a craft idea, it can be a lot of time and effort to put into that. And you have to charge the fee to be able to make it sustainable. Right. And so looking at those numbers, making sure that it's sustainable, what their business idea, and coming up with different ways to market their idea and create products. And then the second part would be to figure out their target market. And so that was one of the mistakes when I first started my business, was not really having a niche market. I kind of just was like, well, I'll just help everybody, because I was just starting and I didn't really know that I needed to do that. And so really focusing in on a target market can help you reach more people more quickly, because people can relate easier to your message. And so really focusing on that target market, helping them hone in on those people that they really want to serve, can be really helpful. That's kind of the second stage. And then the third stage is creating a launch plan. So that can be, you know, what marketing, like what platforms they want to market on, how they're going to launch, how they're going to price their product so that they can get to the launch stage, and then going out there and actually creating that first post, because that first post can be the scariest post that you ever create. So creating that first post in order to share with their network, and then going from there after that.
Excellent. Wow.
Very good. So there you know, Kathleen, you get fed up with our talk show, you know who to talk to, huh?
Never, Peter. Never.
No. Steph, we have, Kathleen's going to prompt me if I don't hurry up and ask you this question. This is what we call our burning question that we ask all our successful business guests. And the question is, in your experience, and you've been coaching a lot of people, and some have taken your advice, some have done well, presumably some not so well, and you've helped people get started in careers. So in all those people, do you think there's a single characteristic or mindset that would separate those who are successful from those who remain average and never really make it? Is it one thing, or is it more complicated?
I think that the biggest thing that sets people apart is having a growth mindset. And so people are willing to learn, they're willing to grow, they're willing to change and adjust as they are learning new things. I think they're going to go further towards their goals. I think remaining average can be something that can depend on each person. I think each person's goals are different, whether you just want to make an extra $500 a month or you want to make $500,000, right? Like it depends on what your goals are. But I think that having that growth mindset is really what sets people apart, right? They're able to, you know, learn, they're able to take advice, they're able to make adjustments, and then they see changes a lot quicker when they're willing to, you know, listen to other people's advice and seek advice from other people.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Good point. And that answer comes up quite frequently, let me tell you. And what does not come up is go to a better university or get an MBA. That's never come up in over 200 interviews.
That's right.
It's a short, it's a small group of answers similar to what you said. Curiosity, perseverance come into it, asking questions, but it's all around there. So we have a couple of minutes in hand. Podcasting. What do you see what's the future of podcasting?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I just stared podcasting myself just 2 months ago.
That's why I'm asking you the question.
I think that it's something that's going to be here to stay. I mean, people who want to learn are doing so quickly and easily, and being able to listen to a podcast you know, while you're working or doing something else can be really helpful. And so I think that it will be something that's here to stay. I also think that it's just a great way for people to get to know you a little bit more. Right. So like as you're and have great interviews with other people, you know, you get to know other people, you get to learn from them. I think that's really what business should be all about, is the connection aspect of it. And so I've really enjoyed doing it for the short time that I have been doing it, but it's been a lot of fun. And I think I've met a lot of great people, and I've actually been able to reach more clients. So I think that's super helpful as well. Good.
So tell our audience what your podcast is called and how they can find it.
Sure. My podcast is Launch Your Purpose-Driven Business, and it's on all the major platforms, Apple, Spotify, and all the other ones that people listen to. And yes, it's about helping people figure out if they want to start a business, you know, some early business strategies, and, you know, some mindset growth to help you build your business ideas.
Oh, wonderful. Very good. We'll give it a listen.
Yes, absolutely. So, Steph, how do people contact you?
I primarily hang out on LinkedIn. So my LinkedIn profile is facebook.com/in/Steph Gillies. And then I have a website, www.stephgillis.com. And then I do have an Instagram profile. I'm not on it super often.
That's great. We will put that in. It'll be on the video, and for our audio listeners, all the details will be in the descriptions on whatever platform you are listening to this on. Back to Kathleen.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today, Steph. We really appreciated having you. And thank you also very much for tuning in to our show. And if anyone is interested in being a guest on our show, please visit us at theyakkingshow.com. All you need to do is click on the contacts tab, where you will find a short application form, and we would love to hear from you. So until next time, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.